There's really no other way to do it. I
Yeah.
haven't really considered switching types, where I think that you'll see most people that play the other types of birls. It would be fun to do a survey because you would find that all of them have considered switching to the 7. It's just one of those things that where once it's in your muscle memory, man, it's going to be a tough one to switch.
I always played my birls in the sideways 7. And am I making that name up, or is that what everybody calls it, where you swipe down and then you snatch your pinky back?
Yeah.
The
I don't.
7.
Why is it the sideways 7? What's the other?
The reason I think of that is because it's like if the tip of the pinky were marked, the line would go straight down and then kind of curve back. And if you were to turn that shape sideways, right, then you got a 7. But
Right.
I was probably 12 plus years playing bagpipes before I saw somebody doing the double tap. Oh, I can't even do it. Have you seen that before?
Right.
A double tap for a birl?
Yep. We've seen it all. So we've
Yeah, I'm
seen
sure
the
you
double
have.
tap for a birl. My dad did the side to side.
Yeah,
So,
side to side, right.
So my dad did the downward swipe, and then you just swipe back up. And then I've also seen, believe it or not, I've also seen at a very high level swipe up and then swipe down.
That fascinates me. That's the one that to me feels like there's a lot of prep work. In terms of like if you're already playing a tune and you know a burl's coming up, you got to get that pinky down there to get ready for the burl.
And then we've also seen the tap drag. So in my mind, Alan
tap
Bevan is famous for the tap drag. Like he's really, I'm sure there are others, but he's the only person I've seen just like have a clearly amazing tap drag. There must be others out there, but I can't think of them off the top of my head. So the short answer, for those who just want to turn off this podcast and move on with their day, the short answer is, you should play the 7.
That's the good one.
The short answer. Yeah.
That makes me feel good because I ain't changing my ways, man.
And it's reminiscent of our discussion a week or two ago where we were talking about posture. If you can score 40 points a night, you can be 5'2" and play in the NBA.
Yeah, do what you want.
Exactly. And so if you have an amazing tap drag burl, do you need to change it? I don't know. And then, same goes with all those other ones. Like I said, I think that I've seen people play at a really high level with all sorts of different kinds of burls. But in my experience, the 7 is the way to go. 9 out of 10 top bagpipers play the 7. And I think there's a couple of reasons why. So for those who are still with us, haven't either tuned out, like maybe they've tuned out because they confirmed their burl is the best or because they're mad because I'm talking bad about their burl. Either way, I think that, I think the reason the 7 is the best is that it's the most ergonomical.
Yeah.
Right. And it's the most, and it's the most, what's the word I'm looking for? Like sort of flexible, and you can use it in multiple scenarios. But basically, we need that burl to happen very quickly, and then we need our hands to be able to get back to work really, really quickly. That's how we're going to play, those really quick, banjo breakdown hornpipes and Mason's aprons, and like we need things to go very, very quickly. So the 7 is the way to go. With all burls, though, I think where the double tap comes from, okay. I think where the double tap and the tap drag, where those come from is that you take the lateral movement out, right? Because as soon as we introduce that lateral movement of the pinky, we get the risk of our other fingers going lateral to join that pinky finger. And it's actually, I don't know if you've ever looked at it, like if you look at the anatomy of your hand, your pinky is actually attached to your ring finger, like way up here. And they're shockingly sort of connected, and it's, it makes that, this finger in particular want to go along for the ride. And then with me, especially as I've gotten older, the retraction part of the 7, causes this finger to want to do some weird things sometimes too.
Interesting.
So anyway, Yeah. So anyway, it's very interesting. Fun fact. There are only 2 things that we do on the bagpipes that require lateral movement at all, right? And everything else is just up and down lifting and pressing movements. But the birl is really the only movement that requires lateral motion of a finger. So that's part of the reason too. It's like we just don't specialize in that.
Right.
And that's part of the reason the birl is so difficult. Can you name the other movement that uses lateral motion?
I'm gonna put all my money, all my chips are on the high A doubling or tap.
Yep, the high A. So high A strikes or taps or even triplings, right? We're very similar to a birl just on the thumb. We'll use the lateral motion of the thumb.
Right.
We can go up and down, and we will use that. But the interesting thing about the thumb that is really, really not true about the pinky. It's and you heard all about it in evolutionary biology class,
It's opposable.
Is that thumb is opposable. That's sort of like designed specifically to be able to move in multiple directions. And like the pinky is decidedly not.
It's so not
really designed to do that at all.
The pinky's the finger that evolution forgot.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here
or maybe it just kind of like added it in, but it hasn't really finished evolving yet or something.
Yet. It's half baked. Yeah. We'll get there.
Half baked, something like that. Yeah. So it's really kind of wild to think about. It's sort of definitely our sort of least effective finger, but we need to use it for this really intricate birl work. So the 7 is the way to go. And then, and then the 7, Jack Lee always taught, just by the way, for those wondering about the 7, like he would always teach it like you want to start by touching your pinky to your ring finger like this. Right. So instead of being on the hole, you're gonna start it up here. And by the way, I just think this is probably a good way to go. There's probably other ways of teaching this, but I'll
do whatever Jack Lee says.
Yeah, you want to touch your pinky up here to the ring finger, then you're gonna slide to the bottom of the hole and then retract the finger underneath. Right, and you got that 1, 2. 1, 2. And then, of course, you got to watch out for all the pitfalls. Like you got to make sure you have that clean low A sound. And then the other thing, which is really hard to pull off with a tap drag, is you need the low G sounds to be truly grace notes and not actually low G. So we want to watch out for. See how much the low G sound kind of dominates. We really want those low G's to sound like taps.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to do that with a tap drag, in my experience. And then every now and then you find somebody that can pull it off really well, but boy, that seems like a tall order. Where the 7 is not easy either, but it tends to be the most flexible, most ergonomically reasonable way to pull it off.
Yeah, makes sense. One of my favorite things about this so far, Andrew, has been watching you bust out really good, really bad examples. That was a good bad birl right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, and I mean, I used to have like this amazing birl, and then I think I had a couple of hand injuries, and also I just think with age, so my birl is not as consistent as it used to be. It's something I'm, a little bit insecure about in my own playing. However, there's really no other way to do it. Yeah. I haven't really considered switching types, where I think that you'll see most people that play the other types of birls, it would be fun to do a survey because you would find that all of them have considered switching to the 7. It's just one of those things that where once it's in your muscle memory, man, it's going to be a tough one to switch.
Yeah, for sure. I'm having fun now imagining too the humans of maybe 150,000 years from now, probably on another planet, still playing bagpipes, of course, with their fully developed second opposable digit,
Yes.
And being able to just bust out some killer birls. It's going to be great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I've seen people play, or I've seen Stuart dabble with playing a birl on B. Stuart Little, I've seen him dabble with that a little bit. And it's like, and then that one really kind of has to go side to side because you really can't drag your ring finger, but that one kind of goes side to side. I think, I don't know, it'd be interesting to see that again, but yeah, it's really kind of interesting.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, birls. Yeah, birls are an interesting thing. I really recommend that people just go with the 7, learn it, get it good, but then also it's one of those movements, right? It represents, it's not part of the meat and potatoes of bagpipe technique. So it's just one of those auxiliary things that we have to get kind of decent at, and just, be patient with it, work on it. And then that's all I've got on that topic. And nothing super mind blowing.